Welcome to the Italian Wine Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Vinitaly International Academy, announcing the 24th of our Italian Wine Ambassador courses to be held in London, Austria, and Hong Kong from the 27th to the 29th of July. Are you up for the challenge of this demanding course? Do you want to be the next Italian Wine Ambassador? Learn more and apply now at vinitalyinternational.com.
Welcome to this two-part episode of On the Road Edition, hosted by Stevie Kim. Today, she is at Castello di Volpaia, in the heart of Tuscany. Stevie Kim sits down with Giovanna Stianti Mascheroni and her daughter Federica Mascheroni Stianti to talk about their epic estate, their amazing labels, and of course the history of this iconic family. And remember, if you would like to watch some footage of the castle and the interview, just head to our sister channel on YouTube, Mama Jumbo Shrimp.
My name's Stevie Kim. Welcome to the Italian Wine Podcast, On the Road Edition. And today we're in Chianti. Today, our special guest, Giovanna Stianti Mascheroni. Is that correct?
Correct.
And her bodyguard, Federica Stianti Mascheroni. Is that no? Or is it just Mascheroni? No,
it's Mascheroni Stianti.
Mascheroni Stianti. Why is that? Tell us why that is.
I was supposed to have only the surname of my father, right, that is Mascheroni, but the surname of my mother was disappearing, and so he decided a long time ago, when it was not a fashion. Now it's much more a fashion to have both the two surnames. So my brother and I, we have Mascheroni and Stianti together.
Fantastic. Alrighty, so Giovannella is one of my favorite wine people. I've met both of them at the first edition of Opera Wine.
Correct.
And this is our really official first visit here. I know we were supposed to come here many, many times, but my husband was here actually. Nobody thinks I have a family. I have one husband, 2 children, 2 dogs, but he came here and he absolutely fell in love with this place. Now I understand why. So, Giovannella, why don't you tell us where we are?
Well, that's something that my husband, that is being always the soul of Volpaia, that's where the prison maybe of the castle. But he decided to change this room, because it's a room, into our storage for old vintages.
Did you say this was a prison?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Because in a castle, you should have a prison, you should have a church, you must have a cemetery inside, you have everything.
So this was a bona fide prison?
We suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Una bonifica.
Okay, all right. So, for the audience out there who have never been to Volpaia, Castello di Volpaia, can you tell us exactly where it's located?
Well, starting from very large, we are in Europe, we are in Italy, we are in the center of Italy, and we are in exactly. But when you go in Asia, you have to start this way because they don't really have very much.
But I'm actually not Asian.
I know you're not. Yeah, I know. And we are in Tuscany, and everybody's in the heart of the Chianti Classico. But really, if you take the distance between the border of the Chianti Classico, Volpaia is very much in the center, not of Tuscany, but of the Chianti Classico area. Chianti Classico area is just delimited by a very old law of Granducato di Toscana, where already decided that we are talking about 15th century, which was this area. The problem today is that Chianti, because the area name is Chianti, but in Chianti we don't produce Chianti. We produce Chianti Classico. So that's
how does that work? I don't understand.
Because of different change and laws. So to be different from Chianti, now the wine name is Chianti Classico because the wine Chianti
area, right?
Exactly. The wine Chianti is not produced in Chianti, which is nonsense, but geographically is not in Chianti. And you cannot talk about, something that is produced out of Chianti area that is a product of Tuscany, yes, but not of Chianti.
So, we were driving up here and from the main road,
Yes.
where there's the signage that says Castello di Volpaia.
Yes.
It's like 3.5 kilometers.
Yes.
So what is the extension of Castello di Volpaia exactly? How big is it? Just to
So
get an idea.
the total hectares of Volpaia is 390, not a vineyard, luckily, but is woods, olive trees, and vineyards. We have something less than 50 hectares of vineyards, 12 of olive trees. All the rest is money to spend in woods. But really, that's the reason why my father bought this place, because he was a hunter and he wanted a hunting reserve. So we started from a different approach and then we became winemaker.
So your father is the person who purchased this area, this estate, right?
Exactly.
But he was really interested in hunting, not wine.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So when did the wine start?
The wine was already here. So the only idea is to producing a better wine, the wine. And I think a good part of the fact that we have been successful, I think I can say, is that my father was not an agriculture, he was an industrial. So he immediately make accounts and he decided he couldn't lose money because industry must make money, otherwise you close. Right. But in agriculture, you cannot turn off the vineyard. They start giving you grapes and wines and products. So the only way was to invest in order to have a good, opportunity to have a good economy in the wine industry.
So it had to be economically viable, right? Because your dad was an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
Okay. So when did the winemaking start with your family?
Immediately, because as I told you, the grapes
and it was
were
in
there.
1966
we bought, but then we started in 1968, really, because the first two vintages we were not really involved. And at the beginning, we were selling part of our wine, the worst part, of course, in bulk, in order to concentrate in the best grapes and the best wines. And then immediately we started to export the wine moreover, selling in Italy. And then export now has become very, very important for us. Thanks also to the help of Federica, that is traveling all over the world.
Have you stopped traveling?
I stopped. They decided I should retire. Okay. They can't stand me.
Wait. Objection.
As always, like a mother and a daughter that speaks together, obviously the daughter has a
different perspective.
Yes, a different perspective. Yes. She decided to take care much more about the in Volpaia work than the export.
So let's talk about the wines. I know you have other estates. You have wines coming from Maremma and, of course, Pantelleria, correct? Yes. But today we'll focus on Volpaia as we are here. So tell me how many labels and the different types of wine that we have.
Well, I don't know really numbers, but we should have, that's 5, 5, 6, something like 10, 9, I don't know how many labels, I don't mind. I know that I have to sell and produce all of them, but I don't know.
It's a good thing she's not going out and trying to sell your wines now that
but
she's
she doesn't
here.
Know. She doesn't know either.
I was counting down here.
Breaking news. Okay, so let's talk about the wines that we've gathered today. There are 5 bottles I see. Tell us about these 5 wines.
So let's start from the first label, that is the Chianti Classico, which
that's your flagship wine,
exactly,
right?
Exactly.
I mean, this is what Chianti Classico, Castello di Volpaia. This is what put you on the map.
And on the label there is everything that is Volpaia. So there is the crest of the family della Volpaia that were builders of sundials and clocks. And then there is the church, which is a national monument by Benedetto da Maiano.
We didn't see the church today. No. We'll do that later. Okay.
And then the name of Chianti Classico and my name as well. Little one, but it's here.
I'd never
Giovanna Stianti Mascheroni.
But if she starts selling, maybe it should be Federica.
but it's mine.
Okay, all right, okay.
And unfortunately for you, from next year, it's going to be not anymore your name, but it's
I
going to be
know.
Castello di Volpaia, because
Okay,
we
very
became
hard.
a società. I
Yes,
mean,
they
between the
became
three of
part
us.
Ding, 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 ding.
They start.
So you better start saving those bottles with your name. It will become collectibles.
Exactly, very, very real.
Yes.
So this is, of course, this is your signature wine, right? So
Exactly.
how many bottles do you produce?
Well, about these wines, something like 100,000 bottles. And then we have the Chianti Classico Riserva, where we concentrate more because it's this is a 90% Sangiovese and 10% Merlot, rather than Riserva is 100 Sangiovese. We immediately concentrate on the idea that Sangiovese was the right grape. Remember that when we arrived here, there was also the white grapes in Chianti.
Yes, I remember like
But-
the French, the Rhone, you can blend in the white grapes.
Exactly. And so then they changed finally the law, but we immediately understood that the white grapes would not be the right grape for this area, especially at that time where the climate was not as warm as today. So the white grapes would make the wine even lighter. It's true that people is looking for lighter wine, but we want a good wine, not a light wine. And as long as we don't have a big production, we are very happy to produce just top quality wines, and not for everybody, I'm sorry, but to be very good, there must be a different approach.
Italian Wine Podcast, part of the Mama Jumbo Shrimp family.
So you've touched on a lot of topics right now, right? The fact that you have focused on your Riserva 100% Sangiovese, because also, when did you start doing that?
Riserva, immediately.
immediately.
We immediately concentrate on Riserva.
Because now it's very trendy,
Yes.
to focus on the indigenous grape varieties. right?
Exactly.
And also you spoke about the crust of the Volpaia.
Yes.
What's can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, Volpaia is fox,
Right.
and on the crest there is fox climbing mountains.
Yeah, why is that? What is the
We
origin?
found this piece of stone in the village, and we decided it should be the crest of the family that
Right.
was living here. And they were artisans. They were no noble family. They were just, as I told you, builders of sundials and clock. And without never thinking of this, but my husband has a big collection of clock and sextant and these naval instruments, sestanti e ottanti, that as long as
Yeah,
he
it's
was
Greek
a
to me,
sailor-
so you could say anything. It doesn't really matter. Okay.
I show you. You
Okay,
come
okay.
upstairs and I show you. And so, if you want again, we found a certain connection between Volpaia and the hobby of my husband.
Oh, okay. All right. But I didn't see any sundials in the village.
No, because they are in museum today. So
Oh,
everything is very.
But not even
precious.
like, I don't know, attached to some building.
We
the
thought to have
tower.
something more modern. We wanted to do, and then it was too complicated. We didn't want to have something very modern and fake, so we never did. But that was one of the projects that were
And so the Riserva, how many bottles do you produce?
around 80,000.
And your market, principally, your most important market is America?
Yes,
Is that
I mean North America and
So
United
Canada and
States.
United
Yes,
States.
exactly.
Okay. And what do you know? Maybe also it's something you don't know. I'll just look for in Wine Searcher. Do you know the retail price of your Chianti Classico?
In US,
Yeah, in US,
no,
no.
I will.
Because I think this is a very good value for such high quality. And I think, I'm just assuming, but I think the success of your wine is because of that. It's very good quality and very good value for this quality. I've also noticed that there is the green label, which means that you're certified organic,
Correct.
Since when?
The exact date, I don't remember if it was 2003 or 2004 that we have made all the transition.
I'm so surprised you are running this like very successful business,
We don't
and
know.
you guys haven't a clue. I mean, it's very romantic. I love it. I love it. I really love it. But the mother and daughter team, you haven't a clue.
Well, there is the same.
Let me do
approach.
some Wikipedia. Okay. So sorry. I'm sorry. It's a joke. I mean,
My husband would say the same,
Yeah.
but he would not know as we do. But he
Right.
would say, "Well, yes, we started in 2002 in February
This is
exactly." Then
this is very man-like, right?
Exactly.
They don't understand it, but they're convincing.
exactly.
So
that's the
because we
difference.
were coming from data, we have decided to say always, I think.
Yeah.
So always we put it before, I think.
He was a liar, really a liar. Absolutely.
He's no longer here, so we can't say anything about him.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's a very long time ago. You've been organic for nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
When it wasn't really fashionable back then, right? Because organic was like kind of alternative. But now I think it's very fashionable, and especially the younger generation, they're really looking for that organic character in a wine.
Luckily, became a fashion. It's like not because I like fashion, but because everybody's following. Even if you don't know, they follow.
Right.
So that is the good part because it's something of healthy. Sometimes it's happened to things that you don't want to be followed, but luckily now everybody's looking for sustainability. This is a word that now is
Big word, yeah.
it's too much used, but for sure it comes at it that we are following in the agriculture, but also conserving the environment of Volpaia. So trying to keep the Volpaia as it is, putting all the wire. If you walk around in Volpaia, you don't see any wire.
You've been on the trellis?
Yes, the electricity.
Oh, okay.
Electrical rope.
Okay.
Everything is underground. We have placed everything underground to be able to see all the village how
And
it
the
was supposed to
landscape,
look.
yeah.
Yes, how it was in the past. So big work to really keep the environment as it was.
So, I mean, being organic means, by definition, you have minimum intervention, right? But how did the climate change? Has it affected the terroir and the winemaking in being organic? It's more difficult, right?
Very good.
Yes.
But-
Yes, I mean being organic, it's
challenges.
yes, it's much more challenging. It's everything has to be work in advance. So you have to look and to be in the vineyard almost more than when you are a normal way to grow the grapes. It's because it's like when you don't have to take a medicine. You have to prevent. You have to protect your grapes. Not at the moment that you have the problem, you can have a medicine and fix the problem. So for sure, it's much more complicated. And this type of climate where the humidity forecast is unpredictable, it's quite much more a challenge for the organic producer.
But I mean, are there more challenges now than, let's say, 10 years ago? Do you see the climate change influence?
Yeah.
And how are you addressing those issues?
But for sure, even growing the grape, so we work less the soil, we keep much more the grass in the soil to have less working of the water, because now it's not that it doesn't rain. It rains all together like in 2 days. And so instead of having open soil that can be worked by the water, we prefer to have the grass to be able to have the water that doesn't break the soil. This is one example of the different way that we are working now in the vineyards than in the past.
Okay. So the third wine, which wine is that you brought out?
Coltasala.
Coltasala.
Coltasala, she looked at me because I'm the only one who was here almost when the Coltasala started.
What does it mean, Coltasala? First of
It's
all?
the name of the vineyard and the
It's a
house,
single
the
vineyard.
farmhouse. Yes. So it changed dress several times, but it's the same red things inside, let's say, because it started as a table wine because they were not allowed to have a Chianti with 95% Sangiovese. We started in 1980 working on a vineyard that was already planted 10 years before, but we grafted with the right clones of Sangiovese. Because at that time, everybody in the 80s or the 70s, everybody were looking for quantity and not quality. So even the clones were not the correct one. And by the chance, we had the receptionist of the industry of my father, who was a grafter during the war. So he was here full time for us. And as you may know, grafting are paid per numbers of grafting they do per day. So,
Actually, I didn't know that.
by now you know, and you
Yes.
can say. And so everybody are trying to do as many as they can.
Oh, okay.
As long as he was our worker, he was doing his best, and he didn't need to make 100. He could do just 20 in one day, but they were perfect. And do grafting on a 10 years old vineyard is not as easy as the young one. We still do because everything starts from American food. So we have all the grapes.
Oh, it's the ghost.
It's the ghost.
It's the ghost, yes. We don't want to miss
It was the
anything.
prison.
Exactly.
It's
So
the prison ward coming to get us. Okay, but it is a little different, right? You have some other great. What is the blend?
the blend there is 95% Sangiovese, and from the very beginning, 5% of Mammolo, which is a very strange, we would not be able to do 100% Mammolo, but this touch of Mammolo will make the Sangiovese softer.
So, we do have some geeky audience, they're very geeky about the grapes and the blends. So what does Mammolo bring to the wine, and why did you say that you couldn't do 100% Mammolo?
Because there is no body really.
Okay.
There is a lighter
of
wine.
structure.
Yes, there is much more. But it has this touch. Mammola is violet in Tuscany.
Oh, okay.
And so it gives, let's say, a little taste of a violet.
Floral notes.
Floral, exactly. And so we still keep these blend since ever. And of course, when we started, it was not organic, but then we turned it to everything, even this vineyard. But it has always been separate from all the other vineyards. And these are, so as long as the grape are coming from one single vineyard, if there is hail, you might not find make a coltasala, because you know that the hail is going just in one spot. It never happened, luckily.
So, you have in blind tasting,
Yes.
okay, you have coltasala
Yes.
and Chianti Classico. What is in terms of the tasting notes? And then we'll taste one of the wines, but what is the tasting note that you can recognize in blind tasting? Because I know you do blind tasting with the black glasses.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
But in a blind tasting, what is something that you can say one is Chianti Classico and the other is coltasala?
For sure, in the structure of the wine, the Chianti Classico has type of the wine, and our Chianti Classico is definitely much lighter compared to the structure that you can find in the coltasala. So that one is the biggest one when it goes in the mouth. In the Chianti Classico, we can say much more like red fruits, and when you get in the coltasala, much more the black fruits like a blackberry or something like this.
Okay. Alrighty. And then the next wine?
Yes, the Balifico is the one that doesn't follow the rules of the Chianti Classico, we can say, because it's 65% of Sangiovese and 35% of Cabernet Sauvignon, so it's very different, and for sure.
So it's your super Tuscan, let's say.
Definitely, yes.
There is no black rooster.
Yes. Yeah.
And another things that at the beginning we forgot to mention.
He's coming.
The ghost is coming because they want to say that we are in the Radda area, that it's very important to say. It's not only Chianti Classico, now it's more and more the concentration of each single subzone of the Chianti Classico, and so Volpaia is in the heart of Radden Chianti. That is the heart of the Chianti Classico.
But really, the Lega
Heart
del
of the heart.
Chianti,
Yes.
the Lega del Chianti started in Radda, so it's not a story that we invented in the 21st century.
Are you sure it wasn't your husband who invented it?
No, it's not.
Okay, and what about the Cotta Sala and the last one?
Balifico.
Fico. I keep on forgetting. What are the volumes in terms of production of these bottles?
Quite small.
Because they're both single vineyard ones.
Yes, it's around 8,000 bottles.
Right, so it's significantly smaller.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Italian Wine Podcast, brought to you by Vinitaly Academy, home of the gold standard of Italian wine education. Do you want to be the next ambassador? Apply online at vinitalyinternational.com for courses in London, Austria, and Hong Kong, the 27th to the 29th of July. Remember to subscribe and like Italian Wine Podcast, and catch us on SoundCloud, Spotify, and wherever you get your pods. You can also find our entire back catalog of episodes at ItalianWinePodcast.com.
Hi guys, I'm Joy Livingston and I am the producer of the Italian Wine Podcast. Thank you for listening. We are the only wine podcast that has been doing a daily show since the pandemic began. This is a labor of love and we are committed to bringing you free content every day. Of course, this takes time and effort, not to mention the cost of equipment, production, and editing. We would be grateful for your donations, suggestions, requests, and ideas. For more information on how to get in touch, go to ItalianWinePodcast.com.